Hey everyone, it's Dave and Bo. And Bo doesn't look like she wants to go out to the yard. Kind of looks like she wants to take another nap. But we'll go out around without her. Over here we can see a wall of lavender just in full bloom. And that still needs to be cut back. The garden elves have not done that yet. We also have the celebrity rose bush about done with its first bloom. The dwarf Eugenia to its left, also needing some attention to be cut back. But let me tell you where the elves have been working, and that is back here in the back. First off, let's walk over here to something we don't normally see. This is pineapple guava. Feijoa is the botanical name, F-E-I-J-O-A. And I don't know which variety this is, to be honest with you, but it's been around for a really long time. And these flowers, which you see right here, these petals just pull off, and that is edible. Everything cleaned off of the fence, everything weeded, even around the rocks over here. And look at that begonia, since we're here. We've also reduced a little bit some of the plants that are back here as well. So more of those will be put into the ground this week, I promise. And over here, look at those geraniums, how beautiful they look. Once again, the Lavender Trumpet Vine, which is really a great, easy to grow vine. Just blooms in the springtime. And then as soon as these blooms are done, I'll be cutting back the vine altogether. Back to the fence. Over here in the daylily, we've got some buds coming up, so those will be in bloom in maybe about another 2 or 3 weeks. Japanese maple coming into bloom, or into leaf at least. This one's been behind all the others. Got that beautiful orchid from Andy's Orchid that we picked up. Look at how dense the rabbit's foot fern is. And when I was out here last week, and I don't know if it was in the video or not, but I captured some of this variegated Jacob's ladder. Now, if you're on the East Coast, you'll be all, oh my gosh, this is such a weed. On the West Coast here, it is not. It's actually something that's kind of difficult to grow. So I am super thrilled that this came back from last year. I just planted it as kind of roots, basically, a rhizome, and it's looking fantastic. So I'm very happy this came up. One thing that I need to get in and start weeding out is this Creeping Charlie, and it's not the true like Creeping Charlie that you would see in the 1970s houseplants, but this is one of the ground covers. New growth is very variegated like this, and then older growth is just green like this. So it is beginning to take over, and it needs to be tamed just a little bit. That beautiful chard in the background, and of course, one of the cool things about having a rabbit's foot fern is having the rabbit's feet there. This is also one of my favorite plants in the yard. If I haven't mentioned it in a video recently, I got this from Covina Garden Center back in the late 80s. It was either 1986 or 87 when I was working there, and it was a plant that wasn't doing very well. It couldn't be sold retail, and the lady who worked on Sundays with me gave me this plant, and it's been growing here ever since. So I'm very pleased to have it, and of course that's what this is down here as well, just more of that plant. Over here, and this is always kind of cool, this is the seeds of the columbine, the variegated geranium, and we've got some blooms coming up on the heliotrope. And this is what heliotrope would normally look like. But over here, this is another type of heliotrope with the lighter flowers. This is Acer palmatum shishigashira, and it's just such a beautiful foliage and beautiful plant structure. I'm really happy I got that this year. We have some ajuga that's in bloom. We have a conifer that's not in bloom, which I know they don't bloom. Those are cone-bearing plants. Some of the bee balm that I can't wait to grow up and blossom. This will be in blossom usually, I would say, in the next month, next 4 or 5 weeks. Looking up ahead, we've got some blossoms here on the pomegranate. And I can't wait to see if those will fruit. We have some of the roses from Antique Rose Emporium. Again, look at all those blossoms there. A few blossoms left on the styrax. And I really wanted to get this Japanese magnolia planted, but I haven't done it yet. So hopefully in the next day or two. I'm a little sore, obviously, from working on that side yard project. Japanese maple bloodgood. And we've got, don't know if it comes in too clear, some of the blooms there. Beneath that, we've got the clivia. We do have a lot of growth now on the pittosporum, and I think this is the pittosporum tenuifolium. I'd have to go back to my older videos and check that out. The false Aurelia, I'm almost thinking I may have to cut that back. It's getting super tall. It's about 6 to 7 feet. Still some blooms on the Chiananthus, the Chinese fringe tree, although the earlier blooms are now done. But the good thing about once the blooms are done, there'll be a lot more foliage. So I do need it to grow and kind of fill up this space here. We had the grasses I got 2 weeks ago now from Upland Nursery. The new bloodgood Japanese maple that I got from Home Depot. Heliotropium. And that's about done blooming. You can see those are all done. That's probably going to go in the ground here, although I'm not 100% sure anymore. But we'll see. Hold on, here's Bo running at us. Got a beautiful hosta. There was also one back in here. I think you can kind of see that variegated foliage there. I'm going to have to dig that out, clear it up so it can actually do some growing. Got some of the flowers beginning to color up on the ligustrum, so I definitely need to get that pruned back. Leftover tomato from last year, that was a seedling. I'm excited about the growth on the peonies this year. This is one I just planted last year. And this is the one that you saw blooming last year that's been here. I think this is year 3, maybe year 4 already. Japanese maple waterfall. Sadly now, the Scilla plants are about done. When they get to kind of this stage here, what I call the mushy stage, that's when they're just about ready to be pulled out from the ground. They come up pretty quickly, and probably one more week on those still. Let's go ahead and look at Cecile Bruner, which is still just amazing to see the bloom. This is an older variety of rose as well. You kind of see we're starting to get some breezes here in the evening. Cecile Bruner, 1881. Climbing Cecile Bruner, 1884, is when those were I don't want to say invented, but named and hybridized and such. They are old-time roses. Nectarine, and over here, look at the size of the fruit here on the genetic dwarf peach. We do have Acer Red Dragon. Down here is Mugo Pine. Slow Mound is the variety. Campanula. Got some silver dichondra leaves there. I'll probably go ahead and cut back the Iris Nata at this time since it's all done blooming. Also give us a little bit more room on our conifer there, our Chamaecyparis. Let's take a look through the rose garden here. We'll cut in. Ingrid Bergman, just an incredibly velvety rose. No fragrance to speak of, but beautiful rose. Variegated oregano, getting some growth on it finally. And that's of course our white false heather. If you're wondering where Bo is, she is across the yard and she is staring us down. So we'll leave her be. Kind of looks like she's hatching an egg over there. But over here we've got some really cool roses that are blooming. This is our first bloom of the year on Judy Garland. Beautiful Floribunda. Behind it is probably one of my favorite roses for scent, and this is French Vanilla. It's a really large blossom, kind of like Double Delight, but it is also less of the darker color of Double Delight, more of a softer pink along the edges, and definitely the white centers. We have a beautiful bud just on the other side there, and again, super fragrant. Look at the dark chocolate cosmos there. And one of the really cool things, finally, I've got some new growth on the hemlock, and just having a hemlock in the plant, in the landscape, is just incredibly cool. We've got Margaret Merrill, is a beautiful white rose. Got some dianthus blooming. Looks like we had a lot of nice growth on the daylily, but no buds yet. Maybe one coming up, we'll see. Another dwarf Chamaecyparis right down there. And behind it, we've got some dahlia coming up. So excited about that. Hopefully it'll come up and bloom just as wonderful as it did last year. Over here, some dianthus carnation. The thyme looking really good as well. The rabbit's, or the lamb's ears. Over here, the variegated dogwood. And also the Stewartia. If you remember, I cut these Bacopa back pretty severely. They're coming out nicely. And I'm glad to see some buds, or buds meaning new growth, on the Tabernet Montana. I was beginning to worry just a bit. We do have a really nice bloom coming up on the bearded iris next to them. And once again, look at those foxglove blooming, and they're about 6 foot tall. The gladiolas in back, the centranthus. Over here I've got some buds on the fuchsias. We've got some color on the fuchsias too down below. Remember last week we saw the Rio Samba come into bloom? This over here, and I'll try to pull that toward us, we'll see how it looks. It's been open a week. Oh, not as nice, but that is Legend. Touch of Class. That is an excellent cut rose, by the way. Once again, some really tall foxglove, taller than I am. A few blooms left on the crabapple. We had as well Fragrant Plum open. It opens up to kind of a weird cup-shaped blossom. It is fragrant, but it also fades really, really quickly. So this is about as dark as it gets, and it's also not as variegated as the advertising material will show you. One more Chamaecyparis way down at the base there. Once again, I need to go in and rescue it. We've got some beautiful lilies in my shadow, pretty much everywhere because of the setting sun. More lilies back here. But look, Tournament of Roses opened. And again, that is just, as far as roses, you can't beat that. That's going to be in bloom from now until I cut them back in the wintertime. I'm concerned about the tree. A whole bunch of branches haven't leafed out, and I just don't know. So that will probably be, sadly, on the chopping block for next year, but we still got a lot of months left. This spirea down below, again, super thrilled that I got this year. And behind it, these are some really large oriental lilies. And if I remember, it's an apricot color, but keep in mind I'm colorblind. Geranium, a lot of new growth on the, if I can get the daffodils out of the way, on the yew. Berberis in the back, Linaria, Catmint, Lynn Anderson, cherry blossoms, and through over here right next to the fence, like it couldn't have been more inconvenient, is a beautiful bearded iris. Finally, one of them that was not purple came into bloom. Super fragrant, and one of the smells that I always associate with the end of the school year, because right now it is May already. It is May 3rd when I'm filming this, and it's just such a beautiful, this is why I love bearded iris so much, and I'm probably gonna get some more. So got the Pittosporum over here. We'll pan back. We still got the violas doing really well, kind of tucked in there. Checking on the apricots. Foliage looking really great. Only one bloom on the foxgloves back here, and it looks like one more, so just one plant blooming. But the other plants are nice and full and green. The liriope, and we also have one more blossom, and it doesn't look like it's the standard purple, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to open up as. The sedum down below, I'm hoping the Arabian jasmine will start to grow once the weather turns warm. And then look at how nice the liriope are finally coming back. So I'm very thrilled. Thought I was going to lose those, but they did come back. And one lone brachycomb over there at the base of the daffodils. And that brings us around to the yard again. So thank you for joining me again this week on the garden tour. And as the setting sun goes away, I will see you all next week with another garden video.